afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Foundation Kids Art Corner. We're so excited you're joining us this afternoon for another fun-filled activity. This week, we're going over some additional Mother's Day crafts or teacher appreciation. Today is like official Teacher Appreciation Day. So if you haven't, go ahead, reach out to your teachers, thank them for teaching you. You can email them, or if you know their address, mail them a card in the mail. I'm sure they would love that. I want to say thank you, teachers. If you're watching this and you're a teacher, thank you so much for serving in that way. I appreciate what you do for kids all over the world, and I know they do too. Last week we talked about Kandinsky, and so if you missed last week's episode, you definitely want to go back and watch it after this. We learned how to make these lovely flowers out of our own handprints for moms or teachers, right? And we filled them. They have like little pollen things in them. And we also learned how to make our Kandinsky-inspired card, which I have my example here, right? We learned a little bit about Kandinsky, about his flowers, his circles, right? And so we made our Kandinsky-inspired cards that you can make at home. So if that's something you're interested in making, you want to go ahead and check out last week's episode to make those. We're going to build today off of Kandinsky. And so as we learned last week, he was an abstract artist, which means things didn't always look like they really did in real life, which is really cool and fun, especially if you're that person who says, I'm not good at art, I'm terrible at it, I cannot draw a good stick figure. This is for you. Abstract art is awesome. It lets you be a little bit more free with your lines and your motions. So our first project is a flower bouquet based off the abstract art of Kandinsky. And so I've already started mine here just so you guys could see a good little bit of these just shapes that I've drawn out and cut out, and I've glued them onto stems to look like flowers. And so for this, you just need some colorful paper. I have my scrap paper, some from last week, some from today. And so you're going to start with, just a shape. So if you want it to be wavy, you can make it wavy, or a circle like this flower. I'm going to draw a wavy one, so I'm just going to take my pencil. Remember, it's always good to start in pencil. And I'm just going to do in and out and in and out. Right, make some good, just wavy lines. Right, it doesn't look like a flower, just by itself, but we're going to go ahead and cut it out. As you, draw these shapes, I wonder, do you have a favorite shape? I love circles because they're nice and round. Circles are really hard to draw, though, by yourself, right? And to draw a perfect circle. But I love them. I love the round circles. Maybe your favorite shape is a triangle, like our logo has 3 triangles. Maybe you love squares and you love boxes. I'm not sure. I'd love to know who's tuning in with us today. So if you want to go ahead, comment your name in the comment section. Let me say hi to you guys after I'm done here. I want to see your artworks too as you are making them, creating them at home for your moms on Mother's Day. Make sure you tell her you made this special just for her and you want to post a photo of it. You can tag us in those photos, Foundation Noonan on Facebook and or Instagram. We'd love to see them. I saw some works of art from last week's lesson of kids getting them ready for Mother's Day, which I love. So you're just going to cut this out. Remember, if you're not supposed to be using scissors by yourself, you're going to wait and ask for mom or dad, grandma, grandpa, someone in your house to help you. We do have to be careful with our scissor use. We can't just cut willy-nilly. Now, if you're thinking, I would love to make something like this for my mom or my grandma, but I don't have any supplies at my house, you can reach out to us, let us know in the comments, or reach out to us through our website, and we will get you supplies. I have tons of art supplies always, right? I have paper, I have glue, I have scissors. So if you're in need of supplies, you're thinking, I would really love to make something for my mom or that mom figure in my life, but I don't have those supplies, reach out to us, let us know. I'd love to hook you up with some so you can make your own. So I made my shape here, right? A nice wavy one. And I'm going to make my stem And so if you can see here on my purple and yellow one, my stem isn't perfectly straight. There's a little wiggle in it. Your stems don't have to be straight, right? When real flowers grow, they're not always super straight. Sometimes they have other flowers shooting off of them. So that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to add a nice curve to my stem. So that way, if you say, hey, I'm not good at cutting straight lines, don't worry. You don't have to. I'm going to take my two pieces. I'm going to glue them together. Glue sticks are great for stuff like this where it's nice and short. I'm going to glue over top of another piece of paper too, just so I don't get glue on the table. I'm going to glue it to the back here. And then I want to glue my whole thing, right? Because I'm going to glue it onto my paper. I'm going to do this one. This piece, I haven't glued that down yet. Put this one right up in here. So you're going to want to make lots of different shapes. Like this one kind of looks like a leaf. You could even add it as a leaf. Like I said, it's abstract art, and so that's the fun of it. It doesn't have to be perfect like a flower that you would see in real life. It's not supposed to look just like real life. And so you want to make different shapes, add your stems, and you want to glue them together to make a beautiful bouquet. You can grab a pencil or pen and write Happy Mother's Day on top of that and give it to your mom, sign it, and there you go, your Kandinsky-inspired bouquet. So we talked about Kandinsky a little bit last week. This one is a great project, not based on Kandinsky, but based on people with hands, right? If you've got hands, go ahead, show me some hand comments. We have this, and this is great for little kids too. And so it's 2 hand cutouts that I've done. It says, I love you. In the middle, I have it. It's like accordion style. It shoots out. And then it says this much. So it's like showing how much. So to do this, you're going to need a piece of paper, preferably cardstock, so something heavier. You could do it out of cardboard. You get some cardboard at your house. Anything that's got a little bit more weight to it so the hands will stay. And so I've already pre-drawn out my hands on my paper. Right, so when you go to draw out your hands, you want to make sure you lay your hand down, trace all the way around, make sure you get down in those cracks in between each finger, and then when you're done, just to connect it at the bottom, do a nice little curve. I did my left hand both times, and so I traced it with my right hand, so I did my left hand both times. When you cut them out, you need to be careful when you're assembling it, because if you notice on my example, my hands, meet kind of like these ones would. You don't want it to go like this, where you have a thumb over here and a thumb over here. So you want to be careful as you're cutting out to remember which sides are going to face in together and which ones are facing outside, because you don't want it to look like this and have a really weird hand. It would look like you had 6 fingers. So we're going to go ahead and cut those hand shapes out. I always know moms just love getting things from their kids with their handprints. I think handprints are always so much fun to work with too, because they're always changing as you're growing older and older. From the time you were in pre-K to kindergarten, your hand has grown, and from kindergarten up, your hands keep growing. And so it's a good kind of little marker for your parents to see how much you've grown. I know when I was like 24, I made my mom a Mother's Day project, and I did my footprint, which was real funny because I'd done the same project years and years and years ago when I was a kid with my tiny itty bitty feet, and then I had done it again with my adult-sized feet. And so it's kind of a funny one. It was a humor gift just because to see how big my feet had gotten from the time of, the age of when I was 5 to when I was 24. Trust me, they grow a good bit. So there's one hand. Here I go on my second hand. Now, these don't have to be just for your mom, too. You can give them to anyone you like at any time. If you've got a brother or sister that you just love, you want them to know how much you love them, you can make this for them. You got aunt, uncle, cousin, a friend, even a neighbor. I'm sure a neighbor would love to get a gift as just a little pick-me-up. My best friend, Christine, was my neighbor for like 13 years. And we loved being each other's neighbors. And we would, make stuff for each other all the time. I always loved it when she would make me something. I still have something that she made me in the 7th grade. She had taken a calligraphy class and had written out my name in calligraphy as the first thing she'd done. and I still have it. Her calligraphy has gotten a lot better over the years. Shout out, Christine. Hey, how you doing? But I love it. It's a special gift from her to me. So you got your two hands. And like I said, this is the careful part. You don't want them to look like this, where your thumbs sticking here and here. You want them to look the same. All right, so thumbs are together, fingers, right? They're a little different because I traced them two different ways. You're going to want to lay them on your table like this, where the pinkies are side by side, because it's the inside of your palm. So if you were to lay your hands out, you see how they match, pinky to pinky, thumbs facing out. So you're going to lay it in the middle. We're going to glue our accordion from inside this palm to inside this palm. You're going to grab a piece of paper, preferably cardstock again, just because it is a little thicker, and you're going to cut just a long rectangle strip. There's mine. Let's see, I'm going to have to count again. I want to make sure because you have the letters for this much. So let's see, how many do I need? I need at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you need at least 9 to write them. So let's do at least 11 folds. So you're going to take your paper. You can lay it flat on a table, and you want to fold it over. About 1/4 of an inch. Well, not about an inch. A little less. And then you can either flip your paper like this and fold it over again. And you can flip it back and forth, folding it like that. Or, if you're good with your fingers, you can hold it up and just fold it back and forth as well. But you want to make sure you go back and forth. All right, that's what's going to create our accordion style. It's going to stick up. All right, so boom. Let's see. Let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. I'm going to fold a little crease on this end. And that's the part I'm going to glue to this hand. And I have a little short crease on this end as well. And that's the part I'm going to glue to that hand. So I'm going to glue them like that. But before I glue, I'm going to write. So remember, the front hand's going to say, I love you. And the back hand is going to say, or the front hand's going to say, I love you. The middle's going to say, this much. Oh, I seem to have forgotten my Sharpie. So I'm going to have to write this in pencil. So you might not be able to see it well on the camera. But let's see. If I do THIS space MUCH, that's perfect. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to do this. Right? How do you spell this? T. It's definitely HIS. Who can spell much for me? This much. Definitely an M. Right? Much. MUCH. Like a little space for an exclamation point. Perfect. So I love you this much. It'll look a lot better if you write it in a marker that you can see more than a pencil. So I'm going to go ahead and glue. Oh, before I glue, you're going to flip this hand over. You're going to write, I love you, ... I'm so glad I stopped myself. That's always a hard thing. I think sometimes before you go on to the next step, have I done everything I need to do? If you forget to write before you glue, it's okay. It just is a little harder because it's a little wobbly. So if I had this here, I'm trying to write on it, just you see how it's kind of wobbly. So it's easier if you write it all out before you glue it. So that's the front side of my hand. You flip this one over too, so both the thumbs are facing, and you can sign this back. So I'm going to do a heart, Robin, right? And then now to go back to the inside of my hands, I'm going to flip them back. Notice those pinkies, right? Lay your hands out. Make sure they look the same. You're going to glue to your palms of your hands. So I'm going to glue this one. It's a little flap. I'm going to stick it on this side. And it's going to take a little bit to sit. So when you glue them, you don't want to start pulling it apart right away. You want to give it time to sit and stick to the paper really well. I'm going to put glue on this flap. And then I'm going to stick to the middle of this hand. Give it a good press. And then I'm going to fold it back up, accordion style, just like so. And I'm going to let it sit. So if you've got a heavy book at home, you can sit it on top. Or, tape dispenser, go ahead, let it sit, let it dry like that so it gets nice and strong and the accordion stays very tight. So then when you're ready to give it, it kind of pops out. You can find an envelope for it and give it to someone. And so when you open it, it like pops out and says, I love you this much. The last thing we're going to do today, you're going to need to print from online. So I've gone ahead and I've made a book. So I know none of you guys are in school right now, and so typically teachers are awesome at giving you these little booklets to write about your moms or that special someone who leads you in your life. And so I went ahead and I made a book. It's on our website. If you go to foundationnewton.com/kids, you'll find a button at the top, and it says Mother's Day book. And so it's right here. It prints off front and back, and there are different pages. So the first one says, my blank makes me feel. And so your job is to write. So I left it blank so you can write in your own word here. If it's your mom or mommy or mama, however you want to call her, or maybe it's your grandma or your auntie, right? And so you can go ahead and fill in there. So if I was doing mine, I'd be like, my mom. All right, so my mom makes me feel, and then I have these 2 dots. And these 2 dots means you get to write what you want there. So my mom makes me feel happy, right? So I'd go ahead and write happy. And then you have this great spot right here to draw a picture. What you draw there is totally up to you. So you could draw happy, what happy means to you. So if you wanted to just go ahead, draw a big smiley face, you could do that. Add some hair. Or like this next one says, my blank smells like. So if I did maybe you want to use the word mommy here. Smells like roses. Right? You'd want to go ahead and maybe in here you could draw some roses. Right? And draw them on a stem. Or any other flowers. Maybe your mom smells like fried chicken. Maybe she cooks a lot of fried chicken. I don't know. I wish my mom smelled like fried chicken because I love the smell of fried chicken. So that'd be pretty cool. I don't know if you're watching this, Beth, but you don't smell like fried chicken. But if you get a perfume that smells like fried chicken, that'd be pretty cool. So you can draw whatever your mom smells like in that photo, or you can just draw a picture of her. And so we have a few of these. They say, my favorite thing to do. I love it when my mom does blank. My blank is the best because the most fun thing I've done with my blank is. And so you get to fill them in, draw your pictures, and then you have to make your book. So the way I like to make books can be a little hard for some people. So I'm going to show you the quick and easy way is to quickly fold all your pages down the middle. All right. And just crease it just like that. And the cover says Happy Blank Day. So if it's mom, grandma, auntie, you can put whoever you want there. So you can say, maybe it's your auntie who you want to write this for. Happy Auntie Day, an exclamation point. And then you could easily just hand it like this. And it's a book, right? All the pages. But if you really want it to stick together and you have some help from an adult, what you can do is bind it with yarn or string of any type. So I'm going to go ahead and take my pencil. This is the part you need someone to help you with. If you got an older sibling or someone older in your house that can help you, that's the best. Because you're going to take your pencil and you're going to use it to stab a hole through the pages. All right. If you've got a really good hole puncher, most of them you can't fit in the middle section because there's just too much paper. But maybe you got something fancy at home. You can go ahead and do that. And so you want to stab that pencil just through those pages. Make sure that one gets all the way through. Like I said, an adult, someone older to help you with this. Do not want you trying this by yourself. All right, so I've got my holes. I'm going to grab my yarn. Now I went ahead and I have taped the end of my yarn here. So I put just some tape on it to make it easy to feed through these holes. I'm going to lay it down flat first. And I'm going to go in from the inside to the outside. See, that piece of tape helps pull that yarn through. All right. I'm going to go in on the second one. And sometimes when you make the holes, sometimes you might need to make them just a little bit bigger. Ooh, I'm going to grab my pencil here and just push it kind of back through a little bit more. Got a nice hole now. Push that through. All right, I'm going to pull some yarn through because you're going to need some more. Then you're going to take it and come up through this bottom one. Just like that. All right, so as of right now, my string goes up to the top, back down to the inside, and then back out to the outside. I'm going to pull, just make sure I have enough. I'm going to take this again through that middle hole, going back through. All right, so you see now I have 2 strings here. And then once again, up through that top hole. Pull it all the way through. And pull it nice and tight, not too tight so your book crinkles up, but just nice and tight. You're going to take your scissors, cut it now. And you want to tie a knot, but you want your knot to be on the outside of your booklet. So I'm going to tie my knot right here. Do it once, twice. You can leave your strings long if you want, or you can cut them short. That is totally up to you and the style that you want for your book. And so there we have it, right? All tied together. Had this one here. This one I cut short, so the knot's right there. And short strings, you can leave it with long strings. You could even add some beads to that if you want. There you go. And your booklet, and you get to fill it out and draw in all these pictures. Like I said, this booklet is on our website. You can download it there, foundationnoonan.com/kids. You'll see it right at the top of the page, a button that says download here. I cannot wait to see all your fabulous art projects that you're making for your moms or your teachers or that special someone who just leads you and loves you. So go ahead, get them to them this week, post about them, tag them, foundationnoonan.com, or tag us at Foundation Noonan, Facebook, Instagram. We'd love to see them. Can't wait to see you guys next week.